And welcome back to the show, everybody. My name is Shane. I am here with Mark.
Hey.
And we are the Fantasy Football Pros. So today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We are going to be doing a mock draft. We have a 10-team mock draft, full PPR, 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, 1 tight end, and we're going with 2 flex spots, being wide receiver, running back, and tight end. 1 defense, no kicker, because we hate those guys. No offense to them.
They miss all the time or hit uprights anyway, so what the hell?
Yeah.
Especially if you're a Chicago Bear kicker.
Yeah, forget that. And 6 bench spots. Going to randomize the draft position. We are using the Fantasy Pros website, not the Fantasy Football Pros. It's not ours. And we got selected in the 8th position. And here we go.
So while we're loading this, let's just, we're going to be showing, going through this, doing the draft just like we would be, and explaining why we're doing certain picks and some of our reasoning behind it.
So the draft starts off with Christian McCaffrey, Barkley, Kamara, Devontae Adams, Cook, Stephon Diggs. That's pretty early in the first round. And then Derrick Henry going 7th. Now, there are some major red flags I see, and I've been seeing them through a lot of mock drafts so far, is that Saquon Barkley tore his ACL last year. He also tore his MCL and I believe another ligament. And it normally takes about 12 months, like 9 to 12 months for your ACL to fully heal. And then the player also needs to gain confidence on using it. I mean, Kamara had this issue. They said he was healthy. He came back and he was just not the same Kamara. He didn't have that burst. Barkley had to heal all these ligaments before they did surgery on his ACL. And I know that he's a freak of an athlete, just like Adrian Peterson was. And these guys can just like come back like it was nothing. But that's such a risk to take in the first round. I do not think that he's going to be like 100% healthy, either mentally or physically, when he starts the year. And it'll probably be more towards like the half of the year. So maybe he'll have like a late coming, but to risk that in the first round to me is way too risky.
Yeah, I agree. I think that in the first and second round, you have to pick up someone that is consistent. Draft someone who's consistent. Draft you know it's going to be there. The fantasy points are going to be there. Question marks are not good in the first and second round.
No, you need guaranteed points. Kamara is the other guy. Is that, when Kamara was with Drew Brees, he was just amazing because Drew Brees does all these dink passes over to Kamara. And now with Hill being the quarterback, I believe they plan on him being the quarterback. If he is the quarterback, he didn't really throw the ball to Kamara. So Kamara was rushing a lot more than he was receiving. And, his main pie is catching the ball and doing damage out there. If Winston is the quarterback, he should be okay. If Hill's the quarterback, that's another risk that we're just not sure. I'd much rather take Derrick Henry and Dalvin Cook at those 2 and 3 spots than those guys. With that said, go to the cheat sheet. Players we have available, we have Tyreek Hill, Jonathan Taylor, we got Zeke, Eckler, Hopkins are the main guys I would be aiming for. If you've listened to the show, you do know that we really do like Jonathan Taylor. We are not intimidated by the Marlon Mack re-signing. I think Zeke is going to have a bounce back year, but that really depends on Dak being fully healthy.
And I believe Zeke, I bet when we come around in the second round in picks, I believe he still might be there.
Yeah, he might.
As a discounted possibility.
Mm-hmm. And the nice thing is that I've noticed that Kelsey is no longer going in the first round. So he's definitely a target in the second round as well. So Long's running backs are so premium in fantasy football. To have one of these workhorse backs that is in there all 3 downs is so hard to come by, especially due to injuries, that towards the end of the year, there's only like 5 or 6 of these guys left. And if you can lock up 1 or 2 in your draft, that's amazing. And they tend to score a little bit more than the highest scoring wide receiver. That does fluctuate per year. I believe last year was a wide receiver year, but typically it goes to the workhorse running backs. So with that, we are going to be aiming and select Jonathan Taylor. And Mark and I are going to be alternating around. So I have odds, Mark is evens, and now it is Mark's turn.
So after Jonathan Taylor was selected, Ezekiel Elliott went right after that, then Austin Eckler. So you can see in that first round how many running backs were selected. In the second round, the turn there, the first pick in the second round was Tyreek Hill, which I fully agree with. And then Nick Chubb, another running back. So what we're looking at is we still have a very good wide receiver left in DeAndre Hopkins, an excellent running back who I think is going to have a big year in Aaron Jones. But I don't think I want to go running back to start with. I believe we can still get a very good wide receiver coming in the later third round, because that's what we're going to be looking at is, the 8th pick in the third round. But the one premium spot that we can be heads and tails above everybody on is tight end. Last year and most drafts that I've been watching, the mock drafts we've been watching, Travis Kelce has been going early. Matter of fact, like I also like to look at Fantasy Football Calculator. Travis Kelce over all different formats. They look at all different, different leagues where the mock drafts are coming from and put this together. And Travis Kelce is the 8th overall pick. We're getting a very nice discount getting him in the 3rd pick in the second round. So we are going to select Travis Kelce to just put us heads and tails above everybody else in that position. So in these drafts, if you can get a Kelce, if you can get a Waller or a Kittle somewhere in the first or second round, but especially if we can get in the second round, you go for it for a tight end position. If not, the rest is all jumbled. It's all jumbled together, and you're going to see him going in the 6th round, 7th round, where if I was not able to get one of these top 3 tight ends in the second round, I probably would have waited to the 10th round for a Irv Smith, who I think is going to be in a very good offense in Minnesota this year. And now that Rudolph is gone, he's going to be a top 10 tight end for sure. But we can get Kelce here in the 3rd pick in the second round. We'll take that discount. Thank you very much. All right. Did you make that selection there, Chief?
Yeah, I was just talking while I was muted. Either you draft tight ends early, one of those top 3, or you wait way late in the draft. Being, like you said, a top 10 tight end doesn't always mean that they're productive and they're valuable to your team. Just because you can be a top 10 and you're putting up 10 points a week.
And that's the thing. You really need one of those top 3, because those top 3 between Kittle, Waller, and Kelce, if you can get one of them, that's like a number 1 wide receiver that you're getting in the second round there. But yet you're separating yourself between every other tight end.
And we are doing a 10-team league. So getting one of those top tier tight ends is a great way to get an advantage over your league mates, because everyone's going to have a good roster in a 10-team league. There's plenty of players. Everyone's going to have them. But only 3 guys are probably going to have elite tight ends. So if you can get one of those, you have an advantage over everybody else.
And there's the breakout star that we don't see coming right now, that we're not expecting to be that type of tight end. But unless there's a breakout somewhere, I think we're in a good spot here.
After Kelce, Aaron Jones, DeAndre Hopkins, DK Metcalf, Michael Thomas, Calvin Ridley, A.J. Brown, George Kittle went, second tight end, and then Patrick Mahomes, the first quarterback off the board in the 3rd round. Justin Jefferson, DeAndre Swift, Allen Robinson, Darren Waller, Keenan Allen, and Terry McLaurin. So with our pick, I really like Josh Allen. It might be a little too early. I want to see if we can wait another round so we can get a Josh Allen or a Kyle Murray. I think that they are a step above everybody else, besides Patrick Mahomes. So let's take a look at...
You mean you don't think Watson's going to have a good year playing for Texas Penal Institute?
Well, I mean, he has 19 lawsuits at the moment, so he's definitely a guy you want to stay away from. I'm not going to say he's guilty, but there is a lot of evidence piling up against him right now.
Let's just put it this way. If we were out camping right now, we'd have a smoldering fire right now.
Just to keep us safe. Okay. Running backs on the board still are Joe Mixon, Antonio Gibson, Miles Sanders, Cam Akers, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. On the wide receiver side, we got Julio, Chris Godwin, Amari Cooper, Robert Woods, Mike Evans, Kenny Galladay. Ooh, those are some tasty names. Tasty. So I really, we both really like Cam Akers this year.
I do like Gibson a lot also.
Yeah, Gibson is also really good. But I see Julio over there. And I know he's 32 now, but he's still Julio Jones. He hasn't declined yet. He's almost a guarantee to give you 1,400 receiving yards. I see absolutely no issue grabbing up Julio as our wide receiver one.
Right now in the mock drafts that are happening, Julio is being selected in the very late third round or early fourth round. So we are getting a little bit of a discount here.
Well, we are the late third round, so.
Oh, this is late third round. Never mind. I'll shut the fuck up.
And Gibson is still there. Okay, so that was a quick turnaround. Here's the draft board for you.
Oh, wow. And here's the thing is, so we got ourselves stud running back, stud tight end, stud wide receiver. So seeing this, I'd really like to go with our quarterback out of Buffalo, but man, look at those running backs still available. And which running back is still available?
Cammy.
Man, who?
So the guys that went off the board are Joe Mixon, Miles Sanders, Chris Godwin, DJ Moore, which I think we're okay with that. Chris Godwin is probably gonna have the best season out of all of them, but
but then you also have, oh man, this is such a tough pick here.
I mean, if I was you, I would be looking right now at Robert Woods, Antonio Gibson, Cam Akers, and Josh Allen.
Yeah, I know. That's exactly what I'm looking at.
Yeah.
I mean, that's exactly what I'm looking at right now. I mean, Josh Allen was a beast for fantasy last year. He was. He's not going to be around. Kyler Murray's not going to be around when we select in the 5th round.
Yeah, because we're early 4th round right now, so there's no way. At least Josh Allen's going to be gone. Probably Kyler too.
I mean, when we're looking at it, though, then are we looking that we can still get in the 5th round, Justin Herbert, a Russell Wilson, something like that if we wanted to?
Yeah, Matthew Stafford, he's buried right now.
Yeah. Well, see, and that's the thing is, and when I'm doing, like, when we're doing our league, Shane, when I'm going against you, when it's me against you, I'm not looking at this point for a Josh Allen. I really think that Stafford is going to be a top 5 fantasy relevant quarterback. I really do.
He definitely has the opportunity to do that this year, finally.
So with me, I'm going to go ahead and select Cam Akers at this point in time. This is where I'm going to go have 2 stud running backs right now to start with, because we basically got good 2 stud wide receivers. We're going to treat Kelsey as if he's a wide receiver 1.
Mm-hmm.
So I really like going with 2 stud running backs to start in the first 4 rounds here in the draft. So that's where I'm going to go.
And another reason why picking up Kelsey over a stud wide receiver is really clutch, because in the middle rounds, this draft is just loaded with wide receivers. There's just so many wide receivers. There's only a handful of stud running backs. There's only, a few stud tight ends. There's a decent amount of quarterbacks this year, but wide receivers is just plentiful.
So just to let you know where I'm at, guys, I'm taking the Cam Akers, and I'm going to go back to what we talked about before in episode 2, I think it was, when we talked about Cam Akers, how fantasy relevant is going to be with Matthew Stafford. Stafford loves, let me repeat this, he loves passing to his running backs. He loves hitting them out of flat.
Yeah, he does not like to move.
What was it? 23% of his passes were to running backs over his career.
Yeah.
So I'm so high on Cam Akers this year, and I've already told you that I'm looking at Matthew Stafford for later down in the rounds to be able to pick him up. I'm looking at tag teaming those 2 right now. So I'm thinking with taking Cam Akers now in the 4th round, I'm going to have that opportunity to fulfill my fantasy dream.
Okay, I will continue your dream then, and I will not draft Kyler Murray. And we will shoot for Stafford. I'm guessing 10th round, maybe. We'll see.
Well, while you're selecting, on a quick look and see where he's going right now, just so we know where we're at.
Okay. And after we got Cam, Clyde Edwards-Helaire went, Amari Cooper, James Robinson, Mike Evans, Antonio Gibson, T. Higgins, Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp, and they're going back to back. CeeDee Lamb, Kenny Galladay, Josh Jacobs. That's way too early. 5th round for Jacobs. Deontay Johnson, one of my faves. J.K. Dobbins went, and then Josh Allen right before our selection.
Hey, Shane, real quick with Josh Jacobs.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
In overall fantasy leagues right now, he's actually being selected in the 2nd round on average, believe it or not. So stupid with Kenyon Drake there.
I guess nobody realized what's going on.
I mean, just so stupid because, anyway, we weren't fans of Jacobs to begin with, and now we're really not fans of Jacobs.
Yeah. Okay. Now we are in the 5th round. Let's see what we got here. David Montgomery, I think that's way too early. Adam Thielen, Chris Carson, Kyle Murray still up there, Kareem Hunt, Juju, Brandon Ayuk. I'll be honest, this is not a good-looking round to choose from. And this is our very first mock draft, so I apologize if we's a little slow. But being that we got our 2 running backs, we have a wide receiver, we got a tight end. I think we should lock up another wide receiver that we know is going to be putting up constant points. And I think I'm going to be taking an Adam Thielen, who's always underrated. I know that Justin Jefferson is there, and he's obviously the new number 1. But Thielen scores touchdowns, and he is pretty consistent.
Yes, he is. I mean, he is a favorite for him in the red zone. He is really consistent.
Yeah, I like Chris Carson there. He re-signed with Seattle. He will be the lead back once again. When he's on the field, he scores points. He's just not always on the field, but he does get hurt a lot, but he's tough and he works through it. He'll play through the injuries. But I think because we already got those 2 running backs, we are going to take Adam Thielen here. And then after that, Mark Andrews was taken in the 5th round. I don't know if you guys had him last year. That's definitely way too early. Juju Smith-Schuster, Tyler Lockett, and then Odell Beckham Jr. Okay, Mark, it is on you.
Mm-hmm. So we have some more wide receivers going out. There are still some very good ones still left, but there is a lot of running backs left. I really like Chase Edmonds this year. I think with Kenyon Drake gone, that opens up a whole lot more opportunity for Chase Edmonds. So he's on my mind. Chris Carson is on my mind. David Montgomery, the second half of the season, was the number 4 rated running back in the league. The second half of the season. I don't know if you knew that. Fantasy points wise.
He was also the only running back on the team.
I know. So I'm looking there. I see these 3 running backs, but it was a wide receiver driven league last year, wasn't it?
Last year, yeah.
Fantasy wise.
Mm-hmm.
We got ourselves a Brandon Ayuk there.
I just want to stress this, though. That's not always the case. I mean, it kind of bounces around every year. And I think people tend to overreact and be like, oh, well, I went running back heavy and I got bit in the ass because, I got injured because there's tons of injuries last year because nobody had, mini camps. No one was fully trained for it.
The other thing I'm looking at is with the league adding in a 17th game,
mm-hmm.
I think you need a little more depth this year at running back.
Yeah.
And so my thinking for compared to last year, I know it's only 1 game, but it shouldn't sound like much, but it is. It really adds up when you're talking toward the playoff time. I really think I'm going to go with another running back here.
I support that.
And I'm going to go with a Chris Carson.
Sounds good to me.
And again, if you were talking to me last year, I would have been swinging around here with a Brandon Ayuk. I would have been.
And Brandon Ayuk went right after us.
Yeah.
Immediately after our selection.
But I'm just looking at that extra game that we do need some durability. I know for myself at the end of the year, I was struggling to find a running back for the playoffs. I mean, I was picking stuff up off of waiver wires and, in the 13th week for crying out loud.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I'd like a little more depth.
It got very, very difficult. I definitely agree with going running back heavy. And if Carson wasn't there, then I would have definitely supported you selecting Chase Edmonds. I think he's going to be a sneaky good running back. I liked him last year. He just wasn't given the opportunity because they felt like a different running back that shouldn't have been there. Should have been getting all the workload.
Completely agree. If That was where my decision what really was between those two players. And if Carson wasn't there, it would have been a no-brainer for Edmonds. It really would have been no brainer at all.
Okay. So now on my turn, let's see here. Still got what quarterbacks. So Jackson's still there. Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson, Herbert, Tannenhill, Jalen Hurts, Tom Brady, Joe Burrow, and then Matthew Stafford is very buried. Running back, we got Kareem Hunt, Melvin Gordon, Miles Gaskins, David Johnson, Mostert. It was really good when he's on the field. Fournette just re-signed. I like Fournette, and I like Melvin Gordon. Now that he's the only running back there, he's sneaky good.
The one thing I got to say about Fournette, this is, I believe, second half of the season Fournette. Okay. I don't think they're going to overuse him in the beginning part of the year. I think the first half of the season, you're going to see a lot of Ronald Jones. I think with Fournette, they're going to try to save him and save his legs for coming playoff time. So I think you're going to see limited touches with him at the beginning of the year through half the year. That's just my opinion.
You're drafting guys with extremely high potential because you're trying to load up your team with, top 10 players throughout your roster. This is getting to the point where it starts getting really muddy between, who's in this tier and who's a tier below them and all these extra picks that if you like somebody, just go for them. I think when I hit my 7th round, that's when I go completely away from whatever draft list that your website provided for you. I go, no, I like this guy. I know it's probably around early, but he might not be there next round. I think this guy's a huge value, and I really like him, so I'm going to take him.
Now, Shane, I know you're looking at possible quarterback also. I just wanted to throw this in. We're getting down to that round where, like I said, I wanted to back up with Stafford. We're going to be able to get him in the 9th round. That's where he's going, is in the 9th round, early 10th round in mock drafts right now. So that's
Cool.
I just want to let you know my thinking.
So I can do a free pick here. You get a pick, and then maybe we'll get Stafford in the 9th. Okay, so I want to go over our roster real quick. So we got Jonathan Taylor, Cam Akers, Julio Jones, Adam Thielen, Travis Kelce, and Chris Carson. So we do have the 3 running backs. We could definitely get a wide receiver here. We got Debo, Robbie Anderson, Chase Claypool, Brandon Cooks, Jarvis Landry. And I think there is a teardrop right there. Ooh, this is kind of tricky. I'm so glad there's not a clock right here. Oh, so I would say it's between Debo and Robbie. Debo is one of those guys that he's a wide receiver that runs like a running back. Like he thinks he's Derrick Henry and he's just going to plow over everybody. Fun to watch, but that makes him injury prone, to be honest. So I will take Robbie Anderson, who didn't turn out to be good until he left the Jets organization. And then it's like, oh, he is a good player. It's just the Jets just make everybody look like crap.
Yeah, that's where players go to die.
Yeah. Deshaun Watson just got selected.
Okay.
What? So after us, it was Jarvis Landry, Lamar Jackson, Deshaun Watson, and Debo Samuel. So Mark, all you, brother.
All right, so we're sitting here. There is a wide receiver I do like right here, and we had discussions on him. Chase Claypool. We were trying to decide if he was going to be the number 1, number 2, or number 3 in Pittsburgh. I think he's going to be the number 2 receiver in Pittsburgh. So in the 8th round to get a number 2 receiver is not all that bad.
Yeah. we said if there's 3 really talented wide receivers on a team, they're all kind of similar. Any one of them could be the breakout guy. Just wait it out. Let everybody select the other 2 guys and pick the 3rd guy. They pretty much have, it's a roll of the die. Who's going to be the number 1 guy there? So why not take the least amount of risk with the most amount of value and pick last?
And here's the other thing. If you look at all these running wide receivers are still available. You got Devontae Parker, Marquise Brown, Jerry Jeudy, Michael Gallup, Chenault, Crowder, and also someone way down, still 10, 11 running wide receivers down is Marvin Jones. And we both think he's in a very good spot this year down in Jacksonville. We both think that he can be that guy to give stability to a young quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm looking at that, and then I'm looking at our running backs are still available, we can really put ourselves ahead in the running back category. We really could. So this is my dilemma. Do we go with that wide receiver who we're kind of like, okay, so Brandon Cooks is available. I'm still kind of, well, yeah, but I actually like some of these names later down more than that. Because in
Hmm.
Houston, we already talked about it our last show. Houston, their coach they have now is traditionally, historically, bad for quarterback and receivers, bad for the passing game. So I'm really going to stay away from that Houston
And
team.
they might not even have a quarterback. So that
This is true too.
this is definitely good reasons to stay away from Houston this time.
Oh, you don't like a
This year
Tyrod
at least.
Taylor?
Oh yeah.
All right, so I really am going to go with a running back in this situation.
I agree with you. That is a good
And
decision. Depending on who you pick, of course.
we both loved Cleveland's offense.
Hmm.
We both do. And they have two fantasy. I mean, it is a running back driven, a rushing team. That's what they are. And I don't think you can go wrong either way with a Kareem Hunt or a Chubb. I really believe they are both going to be fantasy relevant. It's not going to be one week, one another week. They will be fantasy relevant in the same week, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
It's just Hunt is hard to own because if you're point watching and in the first half he still is giving you 0 points, that's just what they do. They run Chubb, and then when Chubb starts to get tired, they run in Kareem Hunt. And it's perfect replacement. They're just dominating the running game.
Okay, so here I'm looking at this, right? And we are right now in the 8th round, correct?
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at value, and let me show you this value. Melvin Gordon, on average, is being selected in the 6th round in drafts. We're able to pick him up in the 8th round. I'm going to say, hell yes.
I am
Give
so
me some
glad
of
you
that
said
Melvin
that.
Gordon.
That's the guy I was actually looking at. Because I'm like, Kareem Hunt is nice, but Melvin Gordon's going to be getting a lot more opportunity with Denver being the sole running back. He's going to be the primary running back, your 3-down back. And I'm a little bit more excited about that than Kareem Hunt.
I hear you. I'm just laying out as I'm thinking, as my mind is just wandering. I'm kind
Oh,
of laying
no.
my thoughts out there.
Okay. A lot of good players just got selected. And this is the thing. This is why you want to do your research ahead of your draft. I've been in drafts where we get towards the 10th round and people are like, "Can you just hurry up? All these players are garbage." They are not garbage. I'm able to find gems in almost every single round. So do your research and you will be rewarded. So we are now in the 9th round, the 9.8 quarterbacks. Matthew Stafford's still there. Not only is he there, but Herbert, Tannehill, Hurts, Brady, and Burrow are also there. So I think we are going to hold off on that quarterback. I'm sure there's going to be a run eventually. Actually, I don't know because Herbert is the number 9 quarterback. So that means that there's only one other team that does not have their first quarterback yet. So we might actually be able to wait a little bit longer. With that said, I am looking at wide receiver because the running backs are not looking good. I mean, we got Singletary, Connor.
Just 1 second. I got to throw this into you.
Sure.
Average draft position right now for Herbert is in the 5th round. So my mind was set like, hey, I'm looking at Stafford. But when we're seeing such a discount on a player that we like anyway, I just want to throw that out there that don't be just because I was saying Stafford, make your decision. If you like Herbert and you want to go with him, go with him. Because I think then Stafford still be available 2 rounds later. We can pick him up for our second quarterback that way.
Okay, I'm glad you said that because I was not going to draft a quarterback. So I was going with that strategy of Matthew Stafford. I think Herbert is an amazing quarterback. He had a record-breaking rookie year, which is amazing. So it's so much to look forward to. He has good wide receivers. They replaced the tight end. They got Eckler, who's a really talented receiving back. There's nothing that's really going to be holding them back. And I love it. I mean, Justin Herbert, that's a QB1 in the 9th round. That is a steal, and I am more than happy to take him right here.
So what we're trying to say here, guys, is that don't be so rigid in what your thinking is before. We all have a plan when we're going into the draft, or we should all have a plan going into the draft, but you have to be flexible. And when something happens like what we're just talking about right now, when this happens and you're able to pick up a very good player at a discounted rate, there's no reason you can't redo your thinking. Now, as we're talking about this, I'm already starting to think about what off of the Chargers can I put on our team also to package up with Herbert. So I'm gonna be looking for that third receiver of theirs or something down the road.
How about their second wide receiver, Mike Williams, who's still on the board?
I like that idea. And that's the thing is we could do that. I like that idea quite a bit, actually. Because now you always love to have in a game where you can get a touchdown from your quarterback and your receiver or points both ways. That's a wonderful thing.
Yeah, people for some reason think it's a bonus to have the wide receiver, like the number one wide receiver with the quarterback. It's not, because if they have a bad game, both your players do bad. However, it is really fun to watch your quarterback throw to your wide receiver, and then you get to yell, double points. I love double points.
I love it. Double down.
All right,
Just like in blackjack, double down. Oh, you gave me a 3 on that 11. Fuck.
we'll put it all on black. Okay, we'll select Mike Williams, very talented wide receiver, especially if Keenan Allen goes down. Then, sky's the limit for this guy.
And I don't wish that because I do like Keenan, so I wouldn't wish that.
Oh, Keenan did very well for me last year.
Yeah, he did very good for you.
Okay. So on our team right now, we have Justin Herbert, Jonathan Taylor, Cam Akers, Julio Jones, Adam Thielen, Travis Kelce, Chris Carson, Robbie Anderson, Melvin Gordon, and Mike Williams. Obviously, when you draft one of those top 3 tight ends, you do not need to be getting a backup tight end. Even if you really like somebody, it's going to be a waste. They're going to be sitting on your bench. There's no way they're going to be better than these other guys. I mean, you would be picking them up just for security in case they get hurt. But for the most part, they're just going to be sitting on your bench. So yeah, we drafted Herbert, and no one has drafted a quarterback. So all those guys are still there. So now we're just looking to add more depth. Depth is so important when you're doing your draft. If you think about this, about half your players that you actually draft are going to be on your end of season team, and they're not going to be, your first 8 rounds.
I only had 5 guys last year beyond my end of my season.
Yeah, you're gonna have busts galore at a lot of positions, and that's why you don't just sit on Jonathan Taylor and Cam Akers and be like, okay, I'm set at running back. I don't need anybody else until like way later. That's why we have Chris Carson and Melvin Gordon back up there.
Now we're getting to the rounds where you can take some chances a little bit.
These are all chances.
Yeah.
If you find a guy that's not a chance in here, then that is a steal that you just need to gobble up. I mean, for the most part, you're not going to be really finding these guys at running back unless you're picking a rookie, which we will not be doing that because we have no idea where they're going to go. We don't know what round they're going to be picked in, and knowing what round that they picked the running back for the team kind of shows you how they feel about the guy, which in translate turns into like their production. So if he's like a first or second round player, chances are that's your starting running back. If, they draft the running back in the 6th round and they already have a decent running back, that's just going to be a backup guy. With that said, I don't see any good running backs right now that stand out. Let me double check. Yeah, just a lot of backups. I'm not really a big fan of backup running backs.
No, I don't see anything
unless
there.
you have like a really injury-prone, high drafted player.
And we already have 4 running backs, the good, very good starting running backs.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't even look till later on to get a 5th one. And I wouldn't go past 5 on our team.
Yeah, so I'm looking at wide receivers right now. I'm not looking at T.Y. Antonio Brown's interesting. See what happens with him. Did he re-sign with Tampa?
Yes, he did.
Okay. So they still got the 3 guys out there. I don't think his potential is going to be that great with all that competition. So you got Darius Slayton in New York, John Brown in Vegas. He's going to have a new opportunity out there.
I think he's going to be interesting with, Aguilar had a very good year with them last year, and he's taking basically going slotting in right where he was at.
And now we're getting to the point where, like I said, if you like somebody and, it's showing you that it's a little bit of a reach, go ahead and reach. Oh, see, I said that, and I was looking at Emmanuel Sanders.
I was just looking there too.
but it I mean, just feels really, really early just because there's so many players in front of him.
Out of those players ahead of him, there's only two that I really like, and that being John Brown and Mooney. And trust me, when we come around to my selection, the next one, if Mooney's there, I'm going to be taking him.
Well, how about I take Mooney and then you take Sanders? Because
Okay.
Sanders is, 6-7 wide receivers after Mooney.
I understand.
So I like Mooney. Let's hope Andy Dalton finds Mooney.
Andy Dalton does like to throw the deep ball. Maybe not to his team all the time.
Yeah, maybe not.
but he does like throwing the deep ball.
Well, if he's going to be trained by the Bears staff, then he's going to be thrown to the other team. All right, it's your turn, and Emmanuel Sanders is still there. It's like Emmanuel Sanders just, I know he wasn't as good with the Saints as he was in Pittsburgh, but to be the number 2 guy from Josh Allen, I mean, Josh Allen's just a dynamic quarterback. That guy's a stud. And there's safety and floor there, is what I'm saying. And he's a deep threat.
Yes.
So we'll take Sanders. With that, we only have 3 rounds left. So we have 2 bench spots, and our defense, we are selecting defense dead last. You could try, like, let's say your favorite defense is the Ravens and you think they're going to be amazing. And, like our league defense scores more than normal because I do think that defense is important. However, it does tend to fluctuate per year. So you just want to look for those teams that have like a lot of really talented defensive players on there that people don't typically think is a good defense. So I would say like the Chargers are very deceiving good defense. A lot of people don't know about, more so than the Jaguars. Anyway, we got 2 spots left. It is my turn.
No, oh yeah, right.
I do.
Is Stafford still there for our second quarterback?
Yeah, so is Jalen Hurts and Tom Brady. Kirk Cousins is there. I think we can hold.
Yep, we can go one more round.
So I do want to get another running back. There's always safety.
Jamal Williams.
I am not looking at Jamal Williams. I'm not looking at Darrell Henderson. We got Cam, so he's going to be the stud out there. Le'Veon Bell his prime is over. Same thing with Todd Gurley. Rashad Penny, that'd be useless. We already have Carson. Vaughn is also playing backup. I mean, all these guys are pretty much backup. It's like I'm looking at running backs, but I don't really see that great of value.
I mean, right now you're basically you're drafting a backup running back right now. So the question is, do you want to draft our handcuff to our starting running back?
Wait a minute. I see Mike Davis here.
Oh, wait a minute. Dude.
Calm your shit. I don't think I don't think a Atlanta running back has been taken.
Dude.
Yeah, because Gurley's still up here. So we're going to be taking, why don't you take the lead? Because it sounds like you have something to say.
No, not at all. I just think he's going to have it. And it's one of the things you don't think about Atlanta of recent years having a good running back, someone that could be dominant. He could have some big games. He really could.
Yeah, I definitely agree. He's a good running back. He didn't do that well for Chicago, but, can't really blame him for that. So, yeah, I definitely agree. We will be taking Mike Davis. That is an amazing value. There's no way he's going to be that low come draft time, but we'll take him. We'll take him now. And with the last pick, I guess we'll see if Matthew Stafford is still there. And he is.
He is.
So is Jalen Hurts and Tom Brady. I do not see these guys actually being here in the real draft, as people tend to back up the quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Which it seems like this draft hasn't, which is odd. So I'll let you pick.
Wow, that is a tough decision, though, between Jalen Hurts and Matthew Stafford. But
it's night and day.
It's 2 different type of games.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to go with Matthew Stafford.
Yeah, he's got the better offense.
Yeah.
Better offense, better chances of, more opportunities to score touchdowns. We'll take Stafford as
better coach.
Much better. Okay, and for our last pick, we take a look at the defenses.
And I see the team that you were just mentioning still there.
Yeah, and they're ranked 13th, and I don't think that's accurate at all. But just for the sake of argument, let's just take the Buccaneers. I know they're a solid defense. They made the Chiefs look like a bad offense. They pretty much kept their whole team intact. So that is a safe option. We'll take that. Okay. And we do not pay attention to the score it gives you because it does not see value that we would see. Anyway, so this is our team. We got Justin Herbert, a quarterback. Our running backs are Jonathan Taylor, Cam Akers. Wide receiver, we got Julio Jones and Adam Thielen. Tight end, we got Travis Kelce. At flex, this is going to be varied, but we do have Chris Carson, Robbie Anderson there. Our defense is Tampa Bay. On the bench, we got Melvin Gordon, Mike Williams, Darnell Mooney, Emmanuel Sanders, Mike Davis, and Matthew Stafford.
And yes, we do realize that we only have one tight end on our team. What'll happen is, Kelce is a very durable tight end. We will see when it comes time for his bye week. That's someone that I'm sure someone on our team is going to be hurt by that time. Something's going to be going on that at that point we can just basically just fill that spot for a week.
Yeah, or one of these guys is going to, one of these guys, many of these guys are going to bust. So you will be dropping players. Yeah, there's no point of picking up the tight end. You don't even know. I mean, a lot of seasons, the first 2 weeks, you'll see those new breakout players like James Robinson last year came out of nowhere. Justin Herbert came out of nowhere. I mean, these guys were not drafted, and you just need to pounce on them when you can.
But you don't want to tie up one of your bench spots for a tight end. There's no reason to do it. Mm-hmm. You can stream tight ends later in the year if you have to. If someone gets hurt, it's one of those positions that if you don't have one of the top guys, you really don't know who's going to have any kind of decent week or not from week to week. So don't tie up a bench spot with a second tight end.
Same thing with quarterback. If you get one of those top tier quarterbacks, you do not need to go in and get a backup that quickly. Wait it out. They will be your rock. Your team would be much better because you're going to have a lot more depth at running back and wide receiver, which you do need plenty. People will ask, hey, who's in your starting lineup? And I'll tell them, I don't have anyone in my starting lineup. I don't have set players that I will start every single week. Those are rare. Those are like the super, super elite guys. You have to play the opponent. You got to play against the defense, opportunities. You got to work with injuries, yada, yada. But that's why you got depth. So let us know what you think. We'll be doing more drafts at different positions, We'll do 12-team leagues. We do plan on having a listener as one of our guests. She doesn't know it yet, but she'll probably be listening to this and know it's her. So expect that.
Also, guys, if you are in keeper leagues and you have any questions about who you should keep or not keep, feel free to reach out to us, and Shane will tell you how you can reach out to us, and we'll look over your team and we'll help you out. We would love to help you out with those keeper questions.
Yeah, the best way to do that is probably through Twitter right now. We are the FantasyPros, so just add us and we will respond very shortly. And that's all we got time for today, and we will see y'all next week. Bye.
See ya.